Hey, everybody, what's up? It's your Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? 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 Your money. So today we are addressing a profound loss in the music industry and our community. He was definitely a great contributor to both. Mr. Irv Gotti, the visionary. He was a co-founder of Murder Inc. Records. Recently, somebody got a emergency broadcast system on their thing. Who is that? Everybody mute yourself because there's emergency broadcast going on at somebody's house and I don't even know. Okay, so today we're going to explore these factors about the cultural norms and systemic disparities and personal apprehensions around our health challenges. And we're going to discuss actionable steps because that's what this is about, and strategies so that we can promote better health. Now, we have the experts who are here who are going to help us dive through. We have all the right people who are going to help us dive through all of this stuff. We have so now I can go this way. So we have, you notice that they didn't change it around and now we don't have to. Okay, so now we got Vanessa Gopal. This lady she has a master's, not an AA, not a bachelor's. She got a master's, not a certificate in public policy. And she's going to bring all the things. She's so smart. And I love being on panels with you, girlfriend. Then we have Mr. Dr. Joe. He is a licensed family therapist, and he's going to bring it from, I guess, maybe a black male perspective. I don't even know. I don't know. We never know what we're going to get. And then we have Dr. Felice, the b.big.coach.com, and I'm loving the Miss America wave. Yes. And we have to have a medical doctor. So we brought in y'all, not only is she a medical doctor, listen, she is a psychic. She is a stand-up comedian. She is she can tell your future, deliver your baby, and make you laugh all in one whop. So we got Dr. Charm here, and she's going to come. She's going to tell us all about the things that we need to know medically. So we have a well-rounded panel today. And oh, by the way, it's so funny because, listen, Qual Watkins, all you got to do is a quick Google search. That's what I did. When I see the comment, I went to Google to see, what nationality Irv Gotti really was. All you got to do is go to Google. I have a TED Talk that's called Google That Shit. All you got to do is GTS, and you can find out that the man was black. He's black. It's so funny when people say that. I mean, even if he wasn't African-American, I just want to give you a quick history lesson real quick before we go in. Do you know that the boats went in different places? It went to Cuba. It went to the island of Dominica. It went to all of these different places. They are still, guess what? Black. Even though they say, I Dominican, I know black. Guess what they are? Black. These people are black. So anyway, he wasn't even Dominican though. They said he was mistaken for a Dominican. He was actually, his grandfather was Filipino and black. He's a black man. But first, let's get into this video. I want to look at this video and then we're going to talk about it. And then, the main thing is, what's the solutions? Because this seems to be a problem. Y'all remember, I know everybody on this because we all black and we all of a certain age. You remember the saying? You don't believe fat meat is greasy. Y'all remember that? Irv Gotti didn't know fat meat was greasy, and unfortunately he succumbed as a result. So let's look at the video.
Irv Gotti's final moments were spent playing poker and eating Chinese food before a massive stroke took his life. His brother just revealed the shocking details about what really happened that night. The music mogul never took his health seriously. He barely went to doctors and even denied being diabetic when they finally diagnosed him. This stubbornness would ultimately lead to his downfall. The stroke that hit him was hemorrhagic, meaning a blood vessel burst in his brain. It wasn't just bad luck. It was the result of years of ignoring warning signs and medical advice. 6 months before his death, he had already suffered a first stroke linked to his diabetes. The hip-hop community lost a legend, and the funeral was packed with icons like Jay-Z, Fat Joe, Ja Rule, and Ashanti. They all came to pay their respects to the man who shaped the music industry. But here's the real tragedy. This could have been prevented. Gotti's brother says it straight up. If Irv had just taken care of himself and listened to his doctors, things might have been different. It's a wake-up call about taking health seriously, no matter how successful or busy you are. Sometimes the biggest battles aren't in the music industry. They're with ourselves and our own habits.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So that, again, that's literally, he didn't think that fat meat was greasy because he kept eating it. And then somebody said in the comments that MSG is the worst. Like health wise, it's the worst. Where's Dr. Dr. Charm? What's going on with Dr. Charm? So, Vanessa, what was your thoughts when you learned that he succumbed to that? And yeah, what was your thoughts? And then
I mean, I thought he was very young. I think I was kind of blown away, especially at this point in life. I'm like, wow, that's really young. But I've dealt with family members, specifically my dad, who have really had a hard time kicking things like diabetes, high blood pressure. We forget that food, some of our habits like drinking, it's an addiction. And then I think it's also a reflection, which I'm sure both of the doctors can speak to that on the panel today, is that in addition to like my father, he would cope drinking. He went to Vietnam War. And so I think this cycle of like bad habits is promoted when you have like mental health issues, when you're dealing with stuff. In addition, that's kind of what they push off to us for years. We've been fed this fried food, and all that stuff's addiction. Sugar, fried foods, all that stuff is addiction, and then you're not educated about it on top of it. So that those were my first thought. It kind of reminded me of my experience with some of my family members, specifically with my father.
Yeah, that's actually a good direction to go. Joe, have you had anybody in your family that may have lost their life or a limb to, diabetes? You're muted. Okay, we can't hear you. Okay, what about you, Felice?
So I know of people who have passed away because of diabetes, heart disease. My daughter's grandfather, he lost limbs due to diabetes. So it's really hard to see how many Black people are affected by this. It's devastating in the Black community. And for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons why people just are not taking it as serious as they can. But I think people are trying to do better. But like Vanessa said, addiction is real. And people forget that food addiction is probably even harder to let go of than drug addiction or alcohol addiction, because food is so normalized in society. Like everything we do is around food. Like people like, let's get together and let's go get something to eat. Like they don't say, let's get together and go for a hike. Everything is around food. And some of it too is that's the way that we express love.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can something be addictive when its expression comes from a place of and space of love?
Yeah.
And so, it's hard. It's a hard addiction for us to break.
Yeah. When you say that, that reminded me, one of my net seven sisters, she talks about that very thing. She talks about it in her book. But she's also Victoria Monet's mom. But one of the things that she was saying was that that's how they express themselves, with through food. And then over a course of the period of time, she saw her grandfather lose a toe, and then the foot, and then the ankle, and then it happened to her mom. And then she got it and she was on her way. She was like, whoa, 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 we got to do something. I got to do something different. And what many people don't know is diabetes type 2 is reversible. Black people don't really understand that you can change it. You don't have to die from it, because if you think about it, people don't die from diabetes. They die from the complications as a result of diabetes. They die from the heart disease and the hypertension and the kidney failure. Those are the things that happen as a result of you having diabetes. But for you, Joe, mic check. We good?
I think so. We good?
Yeah, we good. Yeah. So have you had anybody in your family that lost a limb or a life?
Yeah, for sure. My grandmother was diabetic. Her brother was diabetic, and they chopped his leg off. I chopped both his legs off, and he spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. So yeah, we have that running in our family for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Dr. Charm? I mean, you come from a medical background, and I'm sure you've seen this a lot. You're a holistic health professional, right? And she is frozen. Damn, I really wanted to hear what she had to say, because we want to hear from a medical professional on this, because like I said, diabetes is reversible for me. Okay, switch devices and come back, baby. Are you good? Yeah, switch devices and come back. Hopefully you'll be good to go. For me, I've had people like my mom. I think she now has diabetes, and I'll be like, "Yo, mama, okay, why you over here big backing? Yo, that's how I talk to her. You ain't gonna be walking around here without a toe, but it is very simple. It's just like, take sugar out of your diet, watch what you eat in moderation. I'm so grateful that when I go to the doctor, I go every 6 months, and if you're at that age where they're asking you all these questions and you're like, no, and then every time I say no, I'd be like, oh, thank you, Jesus. No, thank you, because we're of a certain age where all of these things can be happening to us. But I think what Black people really have to realize is that we can change what we do, but somebody said it's cultural. It's I love what you said, Dr. Felice. Like, we don't talk about, hey, let's get together, go for a hike. Negroes will look at you crazy. What you mean go for a hike? If you don't get over here and eat some of this fried chicken and these hog maws and quit playing. But to that point, Dr. Felice, what cultural factors actually discourage Black men from seeking medical care on a regular basis? Why aren't they going to the doctor?
Well, one valid reason is trust. Black men used to be used as guinea pigs for experimentation, like the syphilis and Tuskegee. So, like, you have those kind of things where even for us, for Black women as well, we really don't trust the healthcare professionals.
For good reason.
For good reasons. We don't believe that they have our best interests at heart. And so people are really fearful and skeptical, especially, and another reason is especially because we don't have a lot of healthcare professionals that look like us. And so now they're having to go into these Harvard medical schools and teach these people of other races and ethnicities how to be able to relate to us so that they can learn how to empathize and give us compassionate care. And so, and that's deep. So we have that thing. And then, from slavery, we were given the scraps. And so we figured out how to make it and live off of the not healthy parts of food. And so if you think about that, centuries, right, of acculturated practices, and then you tell us one day, don't eat like that no more. Like, really? You know what I mean? Like, seriously, when it's probably in our DNA, to come out the womb, like in fat, and sugar. So then you tell us all of a sudden not to do something that has been ingrained in our very culture, right? Yeah. And then what we don't do too is that we don't teach our children out the gate how to appreciate and be able to eat well, because that's the key. If you can train your children how to eat well and create that routine, well, that's what they want to do. They want to eat salads. They want to eat green things. They don't necessarily need sugar in order to exist. And so I think all of those things play a role.
Yeah, they do. And then how are we in 2025 still eating chitlins? Like, is the crazy thing, because they still at the groceries. They grocery store people still buying them for New Year's. You still eating chitlins? Oh, Lord.
I cook them.
God bless her. God bless her life. God bless this lady's life. We're going to kick her off the stream. You should have even why would you even admit something like that?
My husband, he has to have a good chitlin, like either Thanksgiving or Christmas. But guess what?
Don't tell me that you didn't clean them, you didn't bleach them. Don't tell me how clean pig shit is. Don't tell me how well you didn't clean pig shit. And when you talk about the scraps, like, that's like an insult of what they're like, here, you ain't nothing but an animal. Take this scraps and take this pig shit needed. And of course, we've taken it, we made it into something, and it's been passed down generation to generation. But in 2025, Dr. Felice, I need you to change it. I need you to make a pledge today.
No, seriously.
No, not once a year, not nuts a year, not nuts a year. No. Dr. Felice, no.
Okay. I hear you. No, absolutely. And I'm taking you seriously, right? Because you're absolutely right. Like, the change starts with me. It starts with us, and we have to do that. And so, I'm gonna talk to my husband. I'm gonna be like, look,
y'all got
to find an alternative to them things. I'll try.
Because think about it. Because listen, the very thing that we're talking about, Dr. Felice, you are in straight violation. We talk about black men, black men's health, like all the things. And you go say, well, my husband, you know, he love a good chitlin. Like, are you really serious right now? Oh my God. Oh my God. You need a whooping. You need a whooping. What are you doing? Oh my, yo. Listen, Tiara's back there smoking weed right now. Like, it's a whole mess on this stage. Dr. Charma, like, we having technical difficulties, and then Dr. Felice says she cook her husband chitlins. What is going on today? We gonna go to commercial, and we gonna be right back. We gonna have our shit together.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
Okay, so outside of the chitlin comment, Dr. Felice had some really, really valid points. I mean, she did. So please don't overlook everything else. One of the things she said that I think is very important. She still has credibility here, y'all. You know, I love her. I do. I love her. I love her. I for real. But one of the things that you said was that we're afraid of, we're afraid to go to the doctor. Like, men are afraid for very good reason. Listen, I read the book Medical Apartheid by Harriet Johnson, I believe it is. And what she talks about is the, not just the Tuskegee experiments, but you also had the father of gynecology who was using Black women as lab rats so that they could make gynecology medicine easier for white women. There's been so many instances, even how they're trained in medical school, where they say that Black tolerance, our pain tolerance is higher than everybody else's. There's so many misconceptions, and there's so many reasons why we should. And then you have only 5% of the medical profession that are Black doctors. And then you have, like, on the other hand, I was just sharing yesterday how Elon Musk said that DEI, and if you've seen that damn video with Elon Musk and Don Lemon, is hilarious, because that's when he kicked Don Lemon off of X, because he was asking him, okay, what's this whole idea about DEI and doctors? Well, he got started. I just think that if, we use DEI to lower our standards, then what's going to happen is, how are they going to be able to do that? He said, but that's not true. Like, Black, in fact, and he was tiptoeing. He wasn't really hitting them with the zingers like he could have, because he could have really given them a history lesson. But in fact, white doctors have done more malpractices than anybody. With us having only 5% of medical professionals in the industry, and even less back then, we still were the first to do heart surgery. We still were the first to do, blood plasma, blood transfer. We still made strides, even though we were a small percentage. Right. But you do have that factor where you have people that there's no representation inside the medical field. Why do you think there's such the disparity of, especially Black men, I think, of not wanting to go to the doctor, Vanessa?
Well, I mean, all that's a valid point, and I'm just going to share an experience based on what you were saying, Constance. So I took care of my dad. I mentioned this before in other podcasts, but I took care of my dad for like a decade. When I got my dad, he was amputated below the knee. He had diabetes. He had high blood pressure, just a multitude of things that just historically he just experienced out of bad habits, bad education, not knowing about food. He grew up in Selma, Alabama. So, I mean, even when I was in Alabama, hog mogs, pig feet. I remember pickled pig feet,
Oh,
hog
yeah.
head cheese. Like those are normal things, right? culturally in some areas, right? In California, I don't see those things so much. But when I got him here, the first couple doctors that we saw were all white doctors. And I mean, they could have been cool, but I don't know. But I didn't stick around long enough to find out because I didn't
Good
like
for you.
the type of rapport that they were giving my dad because I was his advocate. The moment that we got into this program and I found him a black doctor, let me tell you something. My dad was supposed to die maybe a year. He had a year to live. My dad lasted for a decade.
I
That
love
we
it.
took him off 3 or 4 medications that he was on, like for diabetes. His A1C was coming back at normal levels.
Wow.
So I think when I see which what I don't understand is when I see a black doctor, I feel more confident because I know you had to work 10 times harder to be where you are. I know that you had to jumped through, and you're probably breaking hella barriers in your family. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think overall, like we need more representation of black doctors in the medical field, and I think that that would make maybe black men feel more comfortable because when your doctor is somebody who you feel comfortable with, who you trust, then you don't mind going to them. You don't mind when they give you results. You're like, did they skew the results? Did they mix them up? Are they trying to put me on a drug? Because like same thing with me. I had to keep going to see till I got to a doctor because these doctors, I feel it. Like why you wouldn't trust the system historically, and then just going to see doctors. It's just like they don't care. They want to pump you full of pharmaceutical drugs. They don't care. They're trying to get to the bag. It's the way that the system is set up doesn't work. It's not in the interest of the patient in
It's
general. So then you add another layer to being black. So I just feel like for sure we need more black doctors and black medical professionals because the experience is completely different as a black person. I think both women and especially men, because I feel like men go to the doctor way less.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what you 100%. And statistics show that when you have a white man and a black man that will go to the same doctor for the same treatment, they will treat them very differently. They will shoot a black man out, maybe give him some aspirins, and they will run all the tests and do all of the things for the white man. Totally different treatment. And that's the reason why black people in general get diagnosed later. That's the reason why they're dying earlier, is because we don't get the same treatment, even if we do go to the doctor. And then another lady in the Net 7 Collective, she wrote this book, but she's a medical doctor. And one of the things she was saying, y'all, was that they get bonused. She said, medicine is killing us. They're feeding you poison. She is a doctor. She said, I get bonused if I give you medication. If I keep putting you on medication, I get bonus. And all it's doing is it's giving you more medication, but some other things is helping this one, but it's tearing up this. And so it's a whole system. Then, like you said, Vanessa, add being black on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
System is already effed up. Add being black on top of
Yeah,
that.
fine. Though I knew we had the right doctor when her goal is I want to get him off of some of these medications. Like I was like, oh, okay. And when we talk about type 2 diabetes and changing the trajectory of it equating to like death, unfortunately, I got my dad a little bit too late. But
No,
what we
you
were
didn't.
able to
10 years, girl. You did
yeah,
great.
10 years. But what we were able to turn around was his kidney function. We were able to turn around his high blood pressure and how aggressive diabetes was. And
Yeah.
we turned that around solely 99, probably 99% with food, changing the way that he ate. So I think it's imperative that, and I think, but we have to teach our children very young too,
Yeah,
of
that
how
part.
to
I got to
eat.
do better
Yeah.
with that. I got to do better with that because I still bring the Oreos in and the snacks in and the fruit snacks and shut up and take, just keep you quiet, and I need to do better. I don't eat it, but I bring it in for my kids. So now I'm creating the same habit. And so thank you for saying that, because for me, and then you also said that, Dr. Felice, is that we just got to do better with what we're bringing our kids. I just figure, they'll figure it out at some point. They don't want to be, but they're not. They learn from what we teach them. Let's go to break and then we'll continue the conversation.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments. Tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Come on, Fly Nubian Money Club. She'll see you soon. This comment right here. They go for the prescriptions. I had to tell the doctor to do blood work and for other tests. And you know, the thing about it is Dr. Charm looks like she's smiling and she's, Lord, my question was for you, Dr. Charm, because one of the things that Dr. Shirley from Net 7 said was that she said food is medicine. To confirm what you said, Vanessa, food is medicine. What we eat, instead of taking the medication, if we change our diet, we can actually change our life. So I'll go to you, Joe. Like, have you seen anything, just being a Black man, any disparities of the way like doctors treat you as opposed to, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've been around white people, but do you see them like rushing you out, or, you know, have you had to advocate for yourself?
I have in fact been around white people. It's incredible.
Is it?
It's an incredible.
Do they go into the room with you too, and you guys examine at the same time?
No, I'm just playing. No, listen. So I've been relatively healthy my whole life. I endured a lot of stress during that 4 or 5 year period that I was going through that legal stuff. So at the back end of that, I'm going to the doctor and they're like, "Damn, you got high blood pressure." Okay, wow, I never had high blood pressure before. And also your kidneys are failing. You know what I mean? So the first thing they do, I'm going to see a regular doctor and I'm going to see a kidney doctor. And these two aren't even in alignment. And they're telling me different things, trying to put me on different medications and whatnot. So ultimately, I just, I'm like, I'm not, y'all can have this shit. I'm not finna go to either one of y'all, right? So that's kind of, I just ran that through to give y'all like the experience from my perspective as a Black man going to the doctor. They talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes about something serious. I mean, you're talking to a person whose father spent the last years of his life on dialysis. So you telling me my kidneys is failing and you're going to talk to me for 10 minutes about that? No, we're not doing that. You got to tell me what's going on. How likely am I to be on dialysis and finish my life on? I don't want to do that. And, like for me, I eat right. I exercise, work out almost daily, regularly. So how is this happening to me? You know what I mean? And to this day, I still haven't found out how or why. So it's totally.
Have you reversed that? Have you reversed it?
I did reverse the blood pressure on my own. Like they was giving me medications, and I was taking them at first because my wife was like concerned. So I was taking them for her benefit, but then I stopped taking them, and I just started doing other things that I started reading up on other ways to improve your blood pressure, and I completely cut the medications out, and I reversed the whole blood pressure thing. The kidney thing, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do about that, but that's somewhat hereditary. Like, this Negro didn't give me nothing but his diseases.
Oh, snap.
So
damn. Oh, shit to pass on.
Did they test you for what is it? I think it's called FSG. I had a cousin who was young, healthy, and he had that. It wasn't what he was eating, but it was just genetically. Yeah.
No, they didn't. So like that's basically my point. It's too difficult for us to find someone that we can trust and talk to. And I'm sure there are doctors out there that are dedicated to doing this for Black people and Black men in general, but it's too difficult to find them. And when you do find them, they're all booked up, right? Because they do good work.
Don't give up. The beautiful thing is, just like Deborah said, very good, Dr. Joe, keep doing your own research. They done fucked around and gave us the internet. You got the power of the internet. So there's a lot of things that you can find out on your own where you don't have to rely solely on a doctor. One thing Deborah Will Win said, we can't use their rule of standard for us. Unfortunately, they're not like us. And then Kevin said, as a Black man, I've always had to advocate for others in my care and for myself. So Felice, Dr. Felice, what can we do to advocate for ourselves? Because that is the thing that is important. If you cannot just listen to what these doctors tell you, like there's things that you can do. What are some things that you can do to advocate for yourself?
Well, follow me. Me and my co-founder, Dr. Devetta Hammond, we started a nonprofit called States of Wellness. And so what do? We go into the 50 states and we bridge the health disparity gaps by getting teams of trust. So we find Black and brown providers who are willing to come on board with us when we go, and we go into faith communities, right? And we have panel discussions and we answer the community's questions, and we also do health fairs. So what does that mean? And then we follow these people and track them for about 6 to 8 weeks, where we're shortening that time, and basically getting their numbers when they come to our health fair. And then our teams of trust stay connected to these people in the community to make sure, right, that they're getting the proper health care and possibly finding a provider that will look out for them. We also teach them how to advocate for themselves. So we'll give them sheets of questions that they need to ask according to their age, right?
Good.
And so because we know that these are the issues that our communities are facing, we bridge that gap over those issues. And so there are ways that you can advocate. One of the things that I tell all my clients is that before you go to your doctor, like you said, Google what are some of the questions I need to ask, because unfortunately, the insurance system has made it so that our doctors can't even ask you really good, vital questions, because they got to get you in and out or they're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
And so what you have to do is you have to go in and you got to tell your doctor what they're going to check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and sometimes I play the race card and I got a Black doctor. I'm like, look at here. You're not going to skimp on this Black girl.
You know that's right.
And so I'm not leaving this office until I get my questions answered, right? Because I know you on a time limit. I'm not leaving. And so you have to make sure that you stand your ground when it comes to your issues. You got to tell them what you want them to look for.
That's right.
And they really do and can appreciate that you hold them accountable. Because if you don't say it, ma'am, it'll never happen, and they won't check it.
Never happen.
And so it's really pathetic. And so, but look at it this way too. Aren't you worth the work that it's going to take to live the life you deserve and are worth having?
Come on.
And so you can't leave it up to anybody else to make sure you good than yourself.
That part, yeah.
So if you're going to be good, make sure you good. And you do and pull out all the stops for you to make sure that happens.
Right. Yeah, no. And you know, the thing about it is, you know, when we have people of a certain age, they take, can you mute Dr. Felice? When you have people, especially Black people of a certain age, they take everything the doctors say is gold, and they don't ask questions. And they, you know, well, the doctor said this, you know, and so we don't think that we can advocate for ourselves. So Vanessa, you taking care of your father and having to advocate and having to ask those hard questions. I remember when my dad got prostate cancer and I went to the VA with him, and they were like, well, you know what, listen, they was like, it's so small that by the time it grows to, you know, he'll be dead before it grows to a place where it's gonna, you know, it's gonna affect him. You know, he'll be, you know, he'll be 100 years old, whatever they said. They said this will probably outlast him. And I said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're gonna get this cancer out of his body. We're gonna do that. Because here's what I know, Dad. They don't care about you. They don't want to operate. They're not giving you the best treatment. So I know that, you know, it's not gonna work. And his wife was in there like, dang, we gotta take it out, because of course it's not gonna work the way it used to. But I was like, take it out. And we did, because, you know, they're going to listen to whatever the doctor said. If I wasn't there, he would have still had that prostate cancer. So for you, Vanessa, like, what are some things that you had to do for your father being a certain age? What was he like? Like, what was his response to the doctor? Was he one of those typical older Black men that whatever the doctor say, that's what we gonna do? Okay.
Yep. And then it, like you constantly hear me coming. I was a shark in there. I'll get on Google quick.
Right.
We didn't ChatGPT wasn't around, but I Googled on and made sure that I asked a ton of questions. I was like, well, yeah, I made notes. I took notes. I'm like, well, it's his last appointment. You said this. According to his lab results, how come this is happening? What drugs interfere with each other? How can we get this? So I think that it's imperative to answer questions. You almost got to be like an attorney when you go up in there. So I just feel like you got to put on your shark face when you go in the doctor and advocate for yourself. A lot of things that I got from my father was because I just really, like you said, you can't just tell me anything. That doesn't make any sense. That, like what you just said, that don't make no sense. You don't know how quick this cancer is gonna grow. Who are you? Are you the cancer inside of him? You don't know. You're
Right.
practicing medicine. And that's what we have to understand, that doctors
They're
are
practicing.
practicing medicine, which is the reason why it's so hard to sue them, because that's what they're doing. They're practicing. So, if a doctor is telling you something and something doesn't feel right, you have questions, get all your questions answered. And guess what? If not, go to a different doctor. I switched doctor. I switched my dad's doctors 4 or 5 times, and then he had specialists. I switched their asses up too, because you're not about to tell me anything. You're not about to tell me anything. I can get in Google. If Google says something different, and I ask you, and you don't know anything about it, you ain't the right doctor.
Let me tell you
Or if you
something.
don't,
Let me tell you
yeah,
something, Vanessa. When Google came around, that was the worst thing to a doctor's life. You hear me? Because now everybody is a professional. That's
yeah,
right. Now I
yeah.
know the questions to ask. You can't get over on me no more, right?
Yeah, no, you can't. But a good doctor, honestly, like when I got my dad to the doctor that I love, I stopped. I just let her kind of take over. I could relax a little bit, because she would be the one, really making sure, asking me all the questions. How's he doing? What's he do when he do this? How he's been on this medication for 30 days. How is he responding to it? Like, those are the type of questions where I was like, oh, she in her medical bag.
Right.
So you really have to get with someone, that I think a doctor too, who's just passionate about the people that they see, because there are doctors like that. Like I switched OBGYNs because, let me tell you something. I went through so many. I almost died messing with some of these fraudulent OBGYNs.
Wow.
But when I got a good one, she stayed with me. She asked me questions. She wanted to run tests. I could tell she was thoroughly interested in me. So I just think, like anything, we go shop for good bargains and can stay online looking for stuff all day. You got to be like that with your doctors.
Right, right, absolutely. Mine too. I remember I told them I had some issues with my OB in California, and she was like, "Okay." Came down here, and it was like, "Oh no, you have fibroids. Let me do an ultrasound. Oh, you have," and I've been had them fibroids, and I told her the same thing I told her, but this one actually did the work, or order the test. Like, that's all she had to do was order an ultrasound, and then we found out that I have fibroids. But one things that you said that I really want to just put an exclamation point behind is that you can change providers. I want y'all to understand that. Like, y'all, if a doctor is not giving you the attention that you deserve, if they're trying to rush you in and out, if they're not talking to you, if they're not explaining to you, guess what? You can swap them out. You really can. We'll talk more. And I think we got Dr. Charm coming back after this next break.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, Gwen make me want to go into a dark closet when I listen to her voice. Woo! My God, sexy. Mute yourself, Dr. Felice. So listen, I wanted to ask you, as you kept coming in and out, I almost got seasick watching you come in and out, Dr. Charm. You good? You Gucci?
I'm
Turn your
glad
phone
to
this
be back.
way.
I've been on 2 or 3 different devices. I'm on device
Turn your
number
phone this
3
way.
now.
Can you turn your phone this way? Can you turn your phone this way?
Okay. Oh, are we good?
No. Can you unlock it?
Let me unlock it. Lord Jesus. Okay.
We just want you to, just kind of balance out. But while you're unlocking it, Dr. Charm, what I did want to help ask you, because you're a medical professional, you're a holistic health provider. What are some things that we can do today to start eating to make sure that we have that longevity, that we're healthy, that we're not getting sick? because
Well,
Black people,
I got a few
culturally.
things I want to say.
Okay, go
All
ahead,
right,
girl.
y'all can see me, right? So I apologize. I don't know I've never had this happen before. So anyways, we're on device number 3. But here's the thing, and I was listening to you guys backstage while I was trying to get my technical stuff together. What struck me is that Irv Gotti was no longer married. And we neglect the fact about human relationships and how important that is in health.
That's
Most
a
of the
great
time
point.
when I was practicing, the wives were the ones that were dragging these husbands into the offices. And so marriage has shown to lower depression, lower heart disease, lower risk of stroke, because loneliness really increases what we call inflammation. And so you think inflammation like, oh, I hit my arm, I hit my leg, or I sprain my ankle, and then it swells up, and then it starts to, you wrap it and you put ice on it, and after a matter of time it goes down. That's kind of the physical manifestation of inflammation, but we have in our bodies what's called inflammation. And when you have chronic inflammation in the body, it can lead to obesity. It leads to heart disease, stroke, heart attack, all these things. And so actually having human connection reduces the loneliness, reduces inflammation, and having that human connection reduces the risk for those diseases. And so I'm looking at the fact that Irv Gotti got divorced in 2013. I don't know if he was involved in a long-term relationship, but
Wow.
he hadn't been married for, over a decade. And so I really want to say cultivate our human relationships and marriage. Like, I am team pro marriage, and we talked about other shows where Black marriage is at 30% right now. And it's slated to be at 17%. So that's important. And then as far as just health, definitely watching what we eat, because that's one thing. The wife is traditionally, the woman is the one cooking the food.
Why that man was eating that Chinese food is because he ain't had no wife to cook him no
He
food.
didn't have no wife to fix him a good home cooked meal, and so she's doing the shopping. She's doing most of the cooking, the grocery shopping, and then also it reduces the risk for these social things that men are doing that aren't really healthy, like excess drinking and smoking. Because remember, smoking and drinking really lead to some of these increases risk for a lot of these illnesses. And so that's my spiel on it. Of course, we want to eat right and exercise and do the holistic health stuff, but social relationships is just as important.
Girl, I'm so glad you came on here because I hadn't even considered the social aspect or even the marital aspect of it. I did look at an interview that he did a few months ago, maybe a year ago. And first of all, I looked at one he did a few months ago when he was on Drink Champs, and he was looking real frail and sick. So this is not new. But then a little bit before that, he was dating some 21-year-old girl that was in one of his movies. Like, y'all, Black men of a certain age, do you see the outcome of him dating this little 21-year-old girl? What did she do for him besides give him a good time?
She wanted a bag.
That's it. That's the only thing she wanted from that old ass man, right? But not,
What we talking about? What we talking about?
Yeah.
Get back to the topic.
No, I'm just saying, no, I think that's a really great perspective, because when you look at human connection, human relationships, now I'm looking over at my empty bed next to me, like, maybe I need, maybe I need to have somebody next to me, because maybe that will help me in my health journey, So I think that's a really great perspective. But also for you, Dr. Charm, I'm going to ask you another question since you just got on here. But what about the eating? What are some things that we can eat? Because what type of doctor are you?
I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I have a bachelor's degree in nutrition. So eating, definitely you want, I am very much team reducing the amount of meat that we consume, just because back in the olden days, 60, 70 years ago, people ate meat rarely. It wasn't 3 times a day. And what happens is it takes so long to digest that it takes such a toll on your body. So I am a fan of reducing meat. I'm very heartened to hear that Black people, we're the fastest growing group of plant-based eaters in the country. And so with my diet, I eat meat probably like once or twice a week towards the weekend. And then most of the week I'm on like fish and vegetables. So you have to increase the amount of complex carbohydrates, which that means your simple carbohydrates are like sugar and white bread and white flour. So your complex carbohydrates are going to be things like whole grains, beans, whole, things that are whole that aren't processed. So if it's brown, keep it around. Okay. So we just want to increase that, and then increase fruit and vegetable consumption, and just reduce the amount of processed food. What I always would tell my patients, especially when I'm doing like health coaching, is if you notice, like, all the processed food is in the grocery store, in the center of the store. All the good stuff is in the perimeter of the store. So meaning the produce section, the meat section, even the meat section, because it's still uncooked and it's not processed per se. And then all the processed foods are on the shelves. And the longer a shelf life that something has, the more preservatives are in it. They even said the morticians are saying, like, when they have to exhume a body, like, the bodies are taking longer to decompose because we're eating so much processed food. And so I'm excited about, I know RFK was Junior was very controversial of getting selected for the Health and Human Services Secretary. But one thing I do like about his platform is he's trying to get some of these food dyes and colors and things out of the food, and be a proponent for more of the healthy eating. So I'm a fan of that.
So since you are a doctor, this is really quick before we go to our next video. So are Black people's treatment different than white people's treatment? Was he on the money with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the statistics already show that. And I heard you guys talking about, medical apartheid and things of that sort. And unfortunately, your culture informs how your life view and how you perceive things. And when you have so many doctors now that are coming from other countries. You have, a smaller percentage of doctors that are Black American. And so we have that sensitivity, that cultural sensitivity, because this is our culture. And there be many times I come into an office and the patient say, I've told different doctors this, but they didn't listen to me. Well, I'm listening to you because I come from a similar background as you. I have that empathy and just that cultural knowledge. And so I'm sure Dr. Joe understands this, him being a Black therapist. I have a Black therapist now, and it's like night and day. I had great therapists before that were different races, but when I got a Black therapist, it just really clicked. So it's something about people just even feeling more comfortable sharing things that are bothering them with their doctor or their therapist when they do look like them.
Yeah. Dr. Joe, you look like you over there with your John Travolta chest out and your baseball cap. I'm not sure what's going on. What we dressed up? What we going to baseball? We going to the disco? What we going? We're going to talk more about it when we come back from the break. Oh, actually, we got a video. Let's do the video.
Ate a bunch of Chinese food while playing poker and had a massive hemorrhagic stroke, which is bleeding on the brain, and it diagnosed when he was in his 40s, late 40s. But Irv doesn't go to the doctor, so that's why he's so late being diagnosed, right? And then when he finally did go get a real physical and a checkup, they was like, "You're diabetic," and he didn't believe it. My dad.
Type 1, Chris?
Irv was type 1. And then it started with type 2, developed into type 1. So my dad was diabetic. He passed at 86. And when we talk about this topic, why it's so dear and sensitive for me, is I watched him suffer the last 3 years of his life. So it's about quality of life. When Dame is talking about being able to be with his kids, it's about quality of life and the way you actually can stay here and keep doing that. We all have to go at one point in time. We just really want to go on our terms. That's how I look at it. And Irv, sadly enough, he did go on his terms. He just didn't believe it, and he was like, "I'm going to go the way basically I wanted."
So before we get to John Travolta 2, Dr. Charm, I want to ask you, is it true that you can go from type 2 to type 1 to type 2? Because I don't think that happens. Can you do that?
Well, type 1, they usually it used to be known as juvenile onset diabetes, and that's where the pancreas, we would classically see it, a child may have like some type of illness, like they may catch the flu or something, and then and your body mounts an antibody response. So that's the fighters, that's the soldiers that are fighting off all these germs and all this kind of thing. And for some reason, those soldiers turn around and start attacking the body. And it starts attacking the pancreas. And the pancreas is our organ that produces insulin. So we need insulin to help process sugars. Anything you eat has sugars, whether it's sweet or not. And the insulin helps get that sugar into where it needs to go. So when you have a person that's type 1 diabetes, those antibodies have attacked the pancreas where it just doesn't work anymore. And so they will have to be on insulin, what we traditionally say, for the rest of their lives, though there are things that, people who overcome that or have, there's exceptions. So what his brother's probably saying is that type 2, when you have type 2 diabetes, the pancreas is working, it's producing insulin, but it's not, the body isn't reacting to it as well. It's not producing enough. And so that's where they start to take these other medications to help it work better. So you're still producing it, but it's not doing what it's supposed to as well. So he's probably saying that Irv got to the point where he just wasn't producing any insulin at all, and then he became insulin dependent. And so that's what happens with some diabetics. They don't have a good diet, and then their body just, the body can't do it on its own, and so they have to have that insulin. And that's probably what he's saying.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was confused. I was like, I know you can go from type 2 to type 1 to type 2, because when you have type 1, it's like something that you're born with, or it's juvenile diabetes, and then type 2 is one that you can reverse. And so I was confused by what he was saying, but I think I believe he just had type 2. I don't believe the brother knew what he was talking about, but I'm no doctor. So for you, Joe, I'm not going to call you Joe Travolta. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Can you mute Dr. Charm? I'm not going to do it. Joe, I'm not going to call you Joe Travolta, okay? Because that chest is looking real sexy with that chain right there. Oh my God. Chef kiss. Anyway, how can we foster like positive dialogue around around having these conversations with Black men, you as a therapist, making sure that this is something that's ingrained and embedded into our culture? How can we do that?
I missed your whole question, Head Molati, because I couldn't understand a word what you said.
You knew what I said. You knew what I said. Only reason why we don't see yours because you got that hat on. But let's go. How can we foster dialogue? That's why you got that.
You a hat. Send you a damn hat.
Wait, that's why he's sexy down here. He got the hat on up top.
Yeah, send you a damn hat in a minute.
You got to cover it up. Anyway, how do we foster these dialogues within our community, though, for real, Joe? Like, what do we do? How do we bring awareness? Because this is something that, when we look at the statistics, if you bring those slides up about where we are and why, Black men have higher rates of prostate cancer and hypertension, and where's the slides? So Black men have lowest life expectancy of any major demographic. Okay. You as a Black man, Joe. Black men are twice as likely to die from prostate cancer as white men because we're not getting the same treatment. Approximately 40% of Black men aged over 20 have high blood pressure, which you just expressed. Is there any other ones? And then Black men are 50% more likely to suffer a stroke compared to white men. And so how many people do we know, Black men that have had strokes? And then only 4% of US doctors are Black, which may affect trust in communication and healthcare settings. So, but Joe, how do we foster these conversations?
So it goes back to what I'm always saying, unlearning. We have a lot to unlearn as Black men. I mean, like, we are really behind on a lot of things. A lot of the things that we put in our body are harming us, and we don't talk about it. The stress that we put on ourselves does physical damage to us. We don't go to the therapist. We don't go to the doctor because there's a certain level of shame attached to these things. We're not having real conversations with each other about the things that are ailing us. Like, brother, I mean, hey, do you have diabetes? How are you managing it? We should be talking to each other about it. So we foster those conversations in community. Like, we got to talk about them to each other because Dr. Charm is right. A lot of the women are bringing us to the doctor. And then some of us, a lot of us are in relationships with women, that are bringing us to these doctors to have these conversations. I guarantee, I'll be honest, there's a lot of times I would not have gone to the doctor had my wife not have made me go. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, look, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of that tussing. I'll be straight.
That's why you need to be married. See, you just proved Dr. Charm's point. That's why you Black men who think that y'all better off single. How does being married add value to me?
So focus
because
on
you live longer. No, I mean I'm agreeing
no.
to your point.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I'm trying to tell brothers that we need to have talks. You know what I mean? Because we going to and some of us are going to the doctors and we getting these medications, right? And then you got Constance yelling at us because our penises don't work no more, right? These medications are stopping our penises from working. Dr. Charm, am I right? Huh?
I'm hearing it from I haven't experienced that in my dating life, but
I
it
heard
can be,
too. That's what I heard.
it can be a side effect of being on these high blood pressure medications, and this the erectile dysfunction is something that many women are dealing with, and it seems like the men are refusing to discuss it. I don't know if it's a shame around it,
It's
but
the
please,
shame.
men, please do not be ashamed to go to your doctor and discuss this. That's why we have Cialis and Viagra and all these other different things, because you deserve to have a healthy sex life too, and the
Right.
women deserve to have a healthy sex life with these men.
That's right. And I'm having conversations all the time with men that are, dealing with the shame of, kind of how their bodies are failing them. You know what I mean? So it's really, has a lot to do. We have to remove the shame from the conversation so they can really, really talk about a lot of these. And then we have to watch what we put in our bodies. I mean, it's really difficult, man, because it can be really expensive to, we think it can be really expensive to eat right. And plus, we are addicted to these foods that we've, like I said, we have to unlearn. We've been eating them our whole lives, you know what I mean? And they taste really good, but they are in fact killing us. So for me, the way that I start talking about these conversations, I always make men understand and think about the people that will be affected by their loss. You know what I mean? So let's talk about that for a minute. Like who's going to be hurt? Because you're going to be gone,
Right.
but the pain's going to remain.
Yeah. I actually, when you guys were talking, I think that we do need to have a conversation around, like a real dialogue around erectile dysfunction, like a serious conversation. Maybe I shouldn't be involved in it, but maybe we should have a serious conversation about how, what this does to erectile dysfunction, right? How emotionally we could deal with it for, Dr. Felice and Joe, and then what we as women can do to kind of foster that conversation to where men trust us to be able to have these conversations, and we can be sensitive to let them know that it's okay, and that you probably, it's okay to go to the doctor. Like that's a real conversation I think that needs to be had. But when you have these, these macho black men that, are led by their masculinity and that being part of it, it may be tough for them. But the question I have for you, Dr. Felice, is when we talk about, their willingness to go to the doctor, when his brother said that he was in denial. And, when you look at the mentality of someone who gets diagnosed, but then they just completely refuse because they refuse that diagnosis. Why? What is it in him that's making him not believe that fat meat is greasy or that it's not serious?
Well, first, right, if you don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge something so that they can act like it isn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's that underlying fear, right, that you also don't necessarily want to address, because that goes against that macho image of men too, because how am I a strong man and have fear too? And then that vulnerability that you have to enter into and possibly accepting what this means for me. And that's a cultural thing. Like our men don't want to be or appear vulnerable. It's a sign of weakness to them, which is an error. And so what they'll do is they'll wait, like Irv Gotti, like they wait till it's extremely severe and then irreversible at that point, right? And so what you have to realize is that the earlier that you get on top of something, the more likely you are to have the life that you can live. And don't feed into the fear, right? Surround yourself with people who are going to encourage you, who are going to support you in this journey, regardless of what the diagnosis is, and helping you, right, to change mindset, because it really is a mindset. If you stay positive, you're doing all the things that it takes to reverse this thing, you're going to get on top of it and in front of it. But as long as you stay in denial for all the different reasons that I explained, you're gonna shorten your lifespan. And that's unfortunate because from what I could tell, he was a big family man. Like he loved his family. And it looks like his daughter, recently got engaged. And so what a missed opportunity to walk her down that aisle. And had he got in front of it, that could have possibly, been his why to get healthy, was to be able to walk her down the aisle had he educated himself about the severity of staying in denial.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, there's so much more to discuss on this. And, somebody had a comment. JJ Mars said, I was once trying to open up a healthy food store, but too many Black people don't want to eat healthy foods. And then, we could have a whole conversation about food deserts and, eating healthy foods and those, the habits that we've created because we haven't historically had them in our communities and we don't know. And, that's not the food addictions. I think the addictions that we have towards food is what actually leads us to wanting to go to the liquor store and get the hot Cheetos and the, and the strawberry sodas before these kids go to school. But that's a whole discussion that affects all of this. So this was a really good conversation. I think we need to continue the conversation because our health is our wealth. Our health is so important. Dr. Felice hit it on the head. And Joe, like, think about the people that you love. If you love these people, then you're going to make sure that you do everything you can to make sure that you're around for them for the long term. So we're going to go with our final thoughts, and I'm going to just do a round robin. I'm going to start with you, Vanessa, and tell us where they can find you.
So, Vanessa, you can find me Instagram at Vigo Paul. All my information is there. My final thoughts is I think that we need to be honest with our children, right? A lot of times when we're already in our 40s and 50s and 60s, we're putting so much energy into changing those people, and it's really harder as you get older. The saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can, but it's extremely hard. But if we just change the education and teaching our children that food has benefits, food can make you sick or it can make you healthy. So I think that teaching that early is really important. My daughter got to see my father. He was amputated below the knee, and I tell her that's a defect, consequence of some of the actions of drinking and food. And some people will say, "Oh, that's just too much for her," but she picks healthy options. So I think it's very imperative for us to teach our children about what goes into their body, and I think that's a great start for our community.
Good shit. Thank you. That was really good. Thank you. We're gonna go with you, Joe Travolta.
Listen, I just want y'all to get in the community. I'll be real quick about it. Just get in the community, talk to other Black men about some of the things that they're ailing from. I guarantee you, whatever you're dealing with, you're not alone. Please listen to your bodies, and respond accordingly. It's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but it is possible. We need y'all. We need y'all to be upright and healthy. You know what I mean? And we'll do what we can to keep your penises working. You can find me at realuconsulting.com. On there, you can go to the link for the GoFundMe. I'm raising money to get Constance a collection of headbands to keep her forehead concealed. All right. Y'all have a good day.
Everybody together. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Together. All right, Dr. Char. Boy, if you don't get back on here, stop pouting.
As a member of a co-member of the Big Forehead Club, I got Barbara on today. Y'all know I named my wigs. I got Barbara on today.
Listen, we in solidarity, sis.
Covering their forehead, but I love my African high forehead and Constance team forehead. Okay, so I just want to say, y'all, I'm really glad to be on this panel to offer the medical perspective. There are so many Black doctors out there, and we want to serve you. Okay, so please utilize your resources. There are websites, like even when I was picking my therapist, like I would go and look at their pictures, and they have pictures of most doctors now. You can Google them and look for them. And if you don't like your doctor, fire your doctor. I heard Constance talking about that earlier. There's nothing wrong with firing your doctor. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. And please don't be afraid to share things with your doctor. That's what's most important. Irv Gotti, it's a sad situation, but I have seen Black men end up on the stroke floor because they had high blood pressure and they didn't know they had it. It is the silent killer. Unfortunately, there's theories about in slavery where we had to hold on to salt because we were working in this backbreaking work. And so there's higher incidence of high blood pressure due to this genetic mutation from slavery. So we're fighting battles, but I'm heartened to say Black people, we are plant-based now. I'm in Atlanta. There's so many vegan restaurants over here on the West End and Edgewood. We're taking control of our health. I'm not subscribing to that we eat all this unhealthy food. Yes, we, just like anybody in America, we do, but Black people, we're really taking control of this, and I love to see it. And so with that, the other medicine is laughter. I got my new shirts. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. inspired by Onaja, the Pakistani princess, the Pakistani queen. So I got shirts on my site, charmcomedy.com. I got shirts without the face on it, all kind of different designs. I got a show this weekend. If you're in Atlanta, March 1st, Saturday, 7 p.m. Keenan presents Road to Las Vegas. Come check me out, and it will be pay-per-view for $9.99. If you want to get that link, download Radiant TV, the Road to Vegas. Come check me out. Thank y'all very much. Me and Barbara love you.
Let's go, Dr. Charm. You know what? I'm so glad that you got on here today, even with your technical difficulties, because I was really getting seasick just seeing you go in and out. But I really love the perspective that you brought, because it was something that I hadn't even considered. But when you think about it, it's the real truth. So all things Dr. Charm, y'all, if y'all in ATL, check her out this weekend. Hey, you've been killing it on them skits too. I've been watching. Your shit is good. It's great. I love it. I love it. Follow her on TikTok. She got her skits about that lady in Pakistan.
Thank you, Onaja.
Yeah, funny. Super funny. All right, we're going to round up with you, Dr. Felice.
So, Fly Nubian Money Club, one of the things y'all always say is to leave a legacy of wealth. Well, now let's also include leaving a legacy of health to our families and loved ones as well. You can find me on the be.big.coach on Instagram. My website is thebebigcoach.com. My book and this companion journal is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And so I look forward to you. If you need some help, you need some therapy, please reach out to me. I'm here for you.
Come on. Your health is your wealth, and leave a legacy. I will say, Irv Gotti's passing is such a reminder of the health challenges facing Black men, Black women. Overall, we have higher incidences of death, but especially Black men. And Irv Gotti's death from a massive stroke, and he was just in his early 50s, by unmanaged diabetes that could have been managed. It highlights the dire consequences of neglecting our health. Black men, it is imperative that we address the barriers preventing you, from seeking medical attention, whether it be cultural, systemic, or personal. Okay. So to the Black men watching, we love y'all, and your health is invaluable. We need you to do this today. Call your doctor, make an appointment, get yourself a checkup. If you have not gotten a checkup within the last year, I actually do them every 6 months. If you haven't gotten a checkup within the last year, call your doctor today and schedule your appointment and get a checkup, get your blood work, find out if you have any STDs, find out if you have any high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, find out today, okay? And then continue conversations with your family about the same thing. It's time that we start integrating this into our culture. This is something that's not talked about. Dr. Felice said, if we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. We have to continue to have the conversation. So I want to say a big thank you to our panelists. Listen, we got the policy maker, and I did want to talk a little bit more about policy, but we didn't get a chance to, because the conversation was really great and was really rich. But we got the policy maker. She ain't got a certificate. She ain't got an AA. She ain't got a bachelor's. This chick got a master's in public policy. Then we got Miss Doctor. She is a psychic medium. She is a doctor, and she's she could tell your future, tell you a joke, and deliver your baby all in one sitting. Then we got the B.big.coach. Look at Joe's already ready. And then we got Joe Travolta. Thank y'all for an amazing panel. You guys your information was so invaluable. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. You'll see me next Tuesday, but we're here Monday through Friday. And if you don't see us live, you can watch us on Spotify. Search for Fly Nubian Money, okay? And then also, remember, you can always text Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS. If you want all the latest updates, if you want to know when we are having a new training, or you want to know when we come live, or you want to get some stuff from Dr. Boyce, text Queens to 87948. We appreciate you. We're going to see you tomorrow. Same time, same bat channel.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt